My website, after an hour and 15 minutes of working on it, is faster than Amazon's website. In this video, I'm gonna show you 2 simple things that I did to make my website way faster and get way higher Google PageSpeed scores. Then I'm gonna turn those settings off and explain to you why I think PageSpeed is an overrated metric and you shouldn't care so much about the number that Google gives you. So a little bit of background here. I just made a bunch of massive updates to my website, as some of you may have done in the past. And one of the things that comes along with that is you have lower page speed scores when you make your website more complicated. I added things like e-commerce, a library of training videos, new team members, some JavaScript functions, additional content, some integrations, review widgets, all this stuff. And it's all pretty taxing on my site speed. So I thought it was time for an upgrade, especially because it's really awkward in sales meetings when clients ask me, hey, how can you promise to make my website fast when your website isn't fast? So I figured I'd take care of that and record this video explaining to you what's going on. So the first thing that I did was run some baseline tests just for a heads up. When I started this, I was getting a 17 on mobile and a 32 on desktop. That's through Google PageSpeed, so those will be on the screen. That's what I started with. I know that's abysmal, but hang in there with me. We'll fix it in a minute here. It's pretty not a big deal. So then the next thing that I did was I took backups. You should always take backups before you do this. And from there were really only 2 steps that I took to optimize the speeds themselves. The first one being pretty minor, the second one being massive and majorly impactful. So the first thing that I did was I just optimized all the images on the site. You can do this individually, and it is a little bit better to do it individually. You can get a lot more accurate optimizations that way, but it's really time consuming and I was feeling kind of lazy, and so it's for me, not for a client, so who cares, right? I went and optimized it through a plugin called Smush Pro. I do recommend this plugin. It's pretty good. It doesn't make a massive difference because I'd already optimized many of the images on my homepage in previous rounds of doing this, but I had about 450 images since my most recent update, so I had to smush those. It took about an hour, so I went out grocery shopping, came back, and it was done. After doing that and changing nothing else, I retested again, and here were the results. So we got to 20 on mobile and 47 on desktop. Pretty similar, nothing huge, but slight improvements are a good starting point. After that was done, I took another backup because you never know. And then I installed my new favorite plugin, Nitro Pack. I discovered this when a friend recommended it to me. Actually, she's a blogger, about 4 months ago, I want to say, and it's absolutely changed everything since I found out about it. It's called Nitro Pack. So Nitro Pack's a plugin that you install into your WordPress website. It's a slider that has 5 settings on it. It's standard, medium, strong, ludicrous, and manual. Ludicrous being the fastest, standard being not as fast with fewer optimizations for maybe less stable websites. And then manual, you can control individual settings. It's not a preset. You can control everything about how your site's being optimized. I usually just use the presets. I think they're pretty good. One note about using this plugin, you want to be kind of conservative with it. It can and probably will break some stuff on your site. Just as things break, go through, see if you can figure out why. If you have a developer, you can have them look at it. Usually I'll just go to edit the page, not actually change anything, push save, wait for it to re-optimize, and then look at the page again, and it's good to go. So that's the second thing. It takes a second for each page to optimize on the site. Once you install the plugin, you'll get a dashboard and it'll say like, here's the page, here's the device, here's whether or not it's optimized. So before you test anything, you want to make sure that it is optimized. Just for demonstration purposes, I put it all the way to the highest setting, ludicrous mode, and the results I got were pretty freaking amazing. First, I'm going to tell you what the results that I got were, and then I'm going to give them to you in context compared to some major organizations out there, just so you can get a sense of what's possible. After optimizing on ludicrous mode, I had an 83 on mobile and then a 97 on desktop. If you compare that to my previous scores, which we'll put on the screen right now, that's night and day, and it took me an hour and a half to get this done, and for about an hour and 15 minutes I was shopping. The score that I got is 83. It's not 100. How good is 83? This brings me to the second point that I wanted to make in this video. I think these page speed scores are super overrated. People are obsessed with them. There's a saying that what gets measured gets improved. And that's true, because if we can't measure it, how can we improve it? It gets addicting to improve numbers. People get hooked onto it and they think, I need to have 100 on everything. And it becomes a little bit of a vanity metric. And that's the last thing you want to be doing with something like page speed. Because as with anything, if you optimize for only one metric, you lose sight of the bigger picture. You may end up spending thousands of dollars on development for something that's really not going to measurably impact your business. I know what you're thinking. Max, Google just released this big update that makes it so that page speed is one of the bigger factors for SEO. And you're absolutely right. Google did release that update. And more so, PageSpeed has been proven to be really important for things like conversion rate optimization. So why am I telling you that I think it's overrated? Because look at the biggest players in any space and go test their websites. Go look at Amazon's website. All right, I just tested Amazon's website. They get a 52 on mobile and a 67 on desktop. My website, after an hour and 15 minutes of working on it, is faster than Amazon's website, just because it's fun. Let's look at a few other websites. Apple's getting an 87 on desktop, 52 on mobile. Pretty solid stuff, Apple. I'm impressed. Uber, who, admittedly probably doesn't do too much pay-per-click advertising, so their conversion rate on their website isn't that big of a deal. They've got a big development budget. It's 29 on mobile and 50 on desktop. We pretty quickly outpaced them in this race. And then my favorite one, because they made the test, Google gets a 64 on mobile and 98 on desktop. So if I really wanted to get competitive here, I could probably make my website faster than Google's on desktop, and it's already faster than them on mobile. See, this is why I say you shouldn't get super hooked on these metrics. Those companies are massively successful, and they're massively successful online. Clearly, page speed is not what's stopping businesses like yours and mine from becoming successful. It's other things. So instead of allocating tons and tons of resources to moving your website 2, 3, 4 points forward on Google's scale, recognize that not even Google scores very highly on their scale. So it may not make sense to dwell super hard on those statistics. So at the end of the day, I decided that the score was probably a little bit overkill. I didn't need to be that high. Maybe it's a nice flex if I'm in a meeting with a client, but when you leave your website on a super high setting like ludicrous mode, things tend to go wrong. So I ended up scrolling it back to medium level and retesting my website after those pages optimized. And I got a 63 on mobile and a 95 on desktop. I'm just that much slower than Google, and I can live with that. I'm a competitive guy, but I can live with that. With that, I wish you all happy page speed optimizing. If you do want to use Nitro Pack, I have an affiliate code with them because I use them for my website, so I'm comfortable recommending them to you guys. The code is SureSpeed. I think it'll give you 10% off or something like that, and it'll give me like $2 a month or something. I don't know. If you want to use it, go for it. If not, I'll be okay. I hope this is helpful to you. Smush is another great plugin. Don't sleep on that one. And if you are having problems with your website speed optimization, shoot me a message, and I'll give you a hand with my team of wonderfully talented developers. Thanks.